red hair dart. Yes, today we're making a, don't want to lift it up, Death Star Pinata. Now, all you need for this is a great big balloon, some newspaper, some paper mache paste, I'll show you how to make, and of course some paint and some sweets to put inside. Now, please do watch all of the videos, some important tips as we go along. The two main things you have to remember, because I learned, is you do need a strong layer of paper mache at the top and a strong layer of paper mache at the bottom, because this is where the weaknesses are when you're going to be hanging it up. So make sure you put lots of layers here and lots of layers at the bottom where the sweets and the weight of the sweets are. And the second thing to remember is when you're painting it, and again I made this mistake, try not to get the newspaper too soggy, because when you're painting it, your sweets will be inside already, they're heavy, and they might, if you make the paper mache too wet, distort your Death Star a little bit, because mine's gone a little bit wobbly. It was a beautiful round shape, but because I used a lot of wet paint, it did kind of make it crinkle up a bit. I don't mind too much, because it is after all just a pinata, and pinatas are there to be destroyed. So do remember that when you're making one of these, they don't have to be perfect. They're just a bit of fun. They're really easy to do, but take care with the extra layering at the bottom, and of course with not getting it too soggy so that you lose the shape. But anyway, after all that, let's take a look and see how it's made. So to begin with, we need some of those punching balloons. You'll see when I blow it up, it's nice and round. We need some DIY paper mache paste, which I'll show you how to make in a minute. Some scissors or your hands to rip your newspaper. I've got quite a lot of newspaper here. We probably won't need that much. I think one is probably more than enough, but we'll see how we get along. So let's make the paper mache paste first. So DIY paper mache paste is really easy. You need some plain flour, so normal bread, baking flour, 1 cup of flour, let's see if I can do it one-handed, 2 cups of water. Oh, that was just right. Then you carefully give it a stir. Like I said, oh, my hand's gone in the way. Carefully give it a stir, trying to get out of all the lumps. To be honest, you can actually use it as paper mache now already, but if you microwave it, which is what we're going to do in a minute, it becomes a nice thick paste that you can use for doing your own paper mache. Okay, so microwaves do vary. Pop it in. I'm going to do it for about 30 seconds, then give it a stir, and then take another look. Okay, let's have a look. It won't be thick enough yet, but it is good to give it a little stir as you go along, just to get out all the lumps. So if you take a look, you have a nice smooth paste. It's a bit like a soup. It's quite hot at the moment, so do let it cool down, and you can see there's still a few lumps in it, which I'm just going to squish out against the side. It just makes your paper macheing later a bit easier. So I've blown up my balloon, nice and big, as you can see, and I've cut up my newspapers into a variety of strips of different sizes, because I do find when you do paper mache, it's helpful to have different sizes. And of course I have my lovely paste, which is now cooled down. And then it's really simple. I have a nice cloth handy, because I'm going to get dirty hands. I have a little pot here to perch my balloon on afterwards. But basically, you just take your paper mache, tip it in. This is very wet, I know, but don't worry, because we're going to use it. So as you squish it on, the dampness will come out, so to speak, and you can just put your next layer on top. And at the beginning, you literally just want to take as much as you can and cover your whole balloon as quickly as possible. And then later we'll talk about, kind of smoothing it down and finishing it off. But really all you want to do is add lots and lots of newspapers, different sizes, different directions, because the newspaper has a strength in different directions. And then do about 3 or 4 layers all around. Pretty good. I've got about 3 or 4 layers on it. I'm actually really happy with it, but I kind of want to, you don't have to do this, but I quite like doing this. I like adding a bit of paper mache paste to the top, just so that I can give it a final, really nice smooth down to get a nice smooth surface. Now comes a moment of truth. I'm going to just nip this balloon and cut it. There we go. It should slowly peel away from the inside, and hopefully the Death Star won't kind of fold up with it. There we go. Now this hole is going to be quite good. I'm going to use that for hanging later, so we don't need to do anything about that. We just need to kind of get that Death Star dip that you've got in it. So I'm going to use a bowl and a pencil to draw a bit further down actually. That's a good place for it. And inside you can see the green balloon. Okay, I think we've got it all out. Now, I did want it out because if the balloon kind of does its own thing and comes out by itself, it might actually cause it to collapse. And obviously you don't want it to collapse yet. Now comes the fun bit. So we'll keep this, we're going to need it in a minute. Now comes the fun bit. Add your sweets. So here's a bit thin. I'm a bit nervous about this. Now it's okay for when you're actually doing the pinata game, but if you want it to last a bit, you know, you don't want it too thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now paper mache this back on, so in reverse, and then I'm going to just add a few layers here. Yeah, that's the weak spot, and I'm also going to add some layers at the top because this needs to be nice and strong for hanging. So here you can see the reinforced hole because I'm going to use a stick and some string. Here you can see the dent. Yeah, it's not perfect, but remember this is a pinata, it's going to be broken. And we're going to let it dry and then it's going to be ready for painting. Right, we're ready for the next step. This time we need some brushes, some paint, some coffee to keep us going, and a little bit of time. So I'm going to basically, I've decided to paint it dark grey first and then put the light colours over the top. I think that'll be quicker. And as this is a pinata, so it's going to be destroyed, I think it's important to do things quickly and not take too long over it. So I'm going to put a big dollop of black, and then I'm going to add a big dollop of white, and basically cover the whole thing in that darker shade of grey. Project is getting there. As you can see, it's no longer perfectly round. I've learned from my mistakes, and so should you. Basically, when I painted it, I made it a little bit soggy. When I made it soggy, it obviously softened, and the weight of the sweets made dents. So I had to turn it around to my strongest point, which is actually where we're going to hang it from. And this is actually now where I need to rest it whilst we finish the rest of the painting. So you've got to be careful that when you do paint, that you don't make it soggy. Now, if you're wondering how I got this in there, the hanging thing, I'll just show you what I did. Let me just turn that around with the sweets inside. Oopsie. I got a stick, maybe a bit longer than this. I tied some string to the bottom, literally just a little knot, like this, popped it in, and then when you pull it, it hangs in place. So that's how you secure your pinata afterwards. But now we want to do the fun bit, and we want to decorate it. So I need to find its circumference. So when this is hanging, let's do that carefully. I mean, I can rest it a little bit if you just don't want to rest it on the bottom all the time. You will need to trace a circle, and it's good to use a bit of string for that, just so that you make sure it does actually meet again on the other side. Okay, I think that will do. And then you just like slightly trace it, just so you've got a guiding line. I hope I can actually still see that. Actually, I might have to use a brush and just leave some little marks with some light grey that we're going to be using, just so I know where to go. You've seen the pinata. I hope you enjoyed that and that you do have a go. It's really fun. Can't wait to have this at my friend's birthday party. Her daughter's having a Star Wars themed party and she's going to be dressed as Rey, and this is going to be one of their party activities. So yeah, remember, lots of extra layers at the top, lots of extra layers at the bottom, and when you're painting it, don't make it too wet so that it loses its shapes accidentally. And if you like this video, as per usual, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and of course I'd love to see you again soon. Take care, bye.